In John chapter 6, Jesus has just fed the 5,000 on the other side of the lake, and he makes his way back here to Capernaum, which is his home base, which is his hometown, and he makes his way to the synagogue, which was the gathering place of worship for the Jews. And as he walks in here, he has just walked on water, met his disciples at their time of need. They've stopped here in Capernaum, and now he's in his synagogue, this place right here. And even though the pillars behind me are later than Jesus by a couple hundred years, this is the place he stood, and he walked to this exact spot, and he called his disciples to a great dedication, because the 5,000 that were fed were looking for their next meal. They came all the way to Capernaum. They packed this place, and Jesus called them all out by saying, unless you eat of my flesh and you drink of my blood, you will have no part with me. And for Jews, that was atrocious to even think that they would be eating flesh and drinking blood. But yet Jesus uses that as a startling example that just the way Moses fed the people of Israel out in the desert with the manna that fell from heaven, Jesus would be the provision of God for sinful humanity. And in this space right here, he calls his disciples to intense discipleship, to a selling out, really, of what it meant to be a follower of Christ, what it truly meant to be a Christian. And when I stand here, when I think about what he said and how he desired his disciples to be, it's so humbling that this is the chapter in the Bible in John that is a watershed for Jesus. He could have been a mega superstar. He had thousands and thousands following him, yet he doesn't placate them. He doesn't say, keep on coming, keep on coming. It wasn't friendly speech. It was violent speech. It was troublesome speech. And I believe Jesus did that to force his disciples to come to him and ask, what do you mean by that? Which is exactly what his disciples did after this. In fact, in John 6:66, it says that after this, when Jesus stood here and said that to them, it says that many turned away and no longer desired to follow him, and they all went back to their regular work. They all went back to their regular lives. But from this spot, Jesus calls his true disciples in John 6, and we must be about the Father's business, that when Jesus calls us, we do what he asks us to do. We follow him because he is our maker, our leader, our savior, the lover of our soul. And from this spot in Capernaum, his home church, his home gathering, his home assembly, he calls out to those that would truly want to follow him because of who he is, not just what he can do. He's not just a meal provider. He is the God who provides life for all that would trust in him.